It's our 2025 grade series finale. We are talking about the starting rotation. That is the best thing we're going to be talking about this week, and we're doing it today on this edition of All Dodgers. Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers podcast. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and everything else in between. I think I went through the gamut there for the most part, but my name is Clint. Find me as Real FRG on the social media platform. All Dodgers is presented by FanDuel, part of the Bleav Network podcast, and joining me tonight is the boys. We have Snydog, Jeff Snyder in the middle, and outside flanking us here, if you will. That is Kevin Skinner, Skinner7 Kevin on the social media machines. Guys, we're wrapping up the series today. We're talking about something good. Kevin has been kind of screwed this week talking about the outfield and the bullpen, two of the areas of the most concern for the Dodgers in 2025. But the rotation, Jeff, the rotation was pretty dang good in 2025, man. You're muted. You're still muted.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers after 2024, they said we won the World Series, but we weren't necessarily comfortable with the way it had to happen with all those bullpen games and everything. And they said, let's never do a postseason bullpen game again. And to make that possible, let's just get all the starting pitchers. And then all of them ended up being healthy in October. Not for much of the rest of the season, but in October they were all healthy. And yeah, they had some good pitching. I'll give you that from the starting department.
Yeah, very, very good pitching. Obviously, when they go out there, you have a healthy season, mostly healthy season of Tyler Glasnow, and actually see him pitch for the team into the postseason and through the postseason. He was exceptional. And then adding Blake Snell, who missed a large chunk of the season, but came back and was alive and ready to go. He was a good pitcher, living pitcher when it mattered the most. And Kevin, I'm assuming you saw that super chat. I don't know. I wasn't planning on this. But Raul Robles.
Friday,
So Jeff, you were away one night and bad things happened. We got a 999. Listen, it's Friday night. Noah Ortega on the show yesterday said that Jeff can have shots of Diet Coke, but we got 999 super chat from Raul Robles says shots in front of Dad. Happy Friday, cheers. Probably won't do too many of these, but maybe we will because we like shots. We like mine.
All I have is water, but I will definitely take a shot worth of water every time somebody gives us $10.
We appreciate that. For $10. Wow, rich kid. Anyways, yeah, very good starting rotation. Kevin, you were around for basically the invention of this channel, and we survived the 2024 season and the more so the 2023 fallout that led to this, what we see now, where they're like, no, we need this Yamamoto kid. We're gonna go sign Shohei, knowing he's eventually gonna pitch. Waiting out Emmet Sheehan to get healthy again and all that kind of stuff. This is the fruits of the frustrations of 21, 22, 23, how good this starting rotation is now and continuing to move forward.
Yeah, it's like a warm glass of milk for the Dodgers to have really good starting pitching and then 0 run support behind it. It felt
brings you right home,
like
huh?
The old days. It's like right back to the old days.
Back in Jeff's time.
In all seriousness, this is exactly what we hoped for. It wasn't great at times. You know, you and I had talked about it yesterday that there were points in the season where the rotation was like Yoshinobu Yamamoto and others, but where it ended through the playoffs, obviously through the World Series, we always felt that we had an edge at the starting with the starting pitching matchup. I don't think there was ever a time where like this might not favor us, whereas like last year it was like every other game we're like, we were gonna need to pull a rabbit out of a hat here.
The things were so bad in 2024, it helped create this legend of Brent Honeywell as some sort of good pitcher, as opposed to being, as Jeff will remind people quite often, a bad pitcher in sheep's clothing. I don't know if that's what you would do, but
A bad pitcher in a sheep's turtleneck.
yes, there it is. The turtleneck and chain. You know what? We like that. I'll give you the clap for that. We'll hit the gong and the dollar button from Carlos, by the way. Hello, gentlemen. Looking forward to the podcast. Carlos, by the way, did sign up to join us on Patreon. I got to get back to you and respond to you, but Carlos, we very much appreciate you. I think signed up actually for the $10 tier. I'm not 100% certain. Either way, we appreciate anybody who supports the show on Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg, or click the join button here on YouTube. They're both the same thing. Technically, Patreon's a little bit better. YouTube takes more of a cut of the money, but either way, we appreciate the support from everybody. Those links are in the description below. With that, you do get access to our Discord server where we're talking about the Dodgers all the time, and everybody in the Discord right now is, I think, very, very much pining for that winter meetings coming up next week, and really, really, really hoping we start to get some action. But we've said a lot of nothing so far, guys. This is the grades episode. Let's talk about the 2025 rotation and how good they were. Somebody in the chat earlier, I got to find it first to kind of set us up. Madman5 Dodge says, does anybody really believe that those guys were actually hurt? Because that is the story of this starting rotation in 2025. On paper, to start the season in Japan, phenomenal looking group of 5 to 6 dudes, and then 2 starts for Blake Snell. You missed a chunk of time with Tyler Glasnow. Clayton Kershaw starts the season on the IL. The only guy to go wire to wire was of course, Yoshi Yamamoto. Shohei eventually comes back, but all together, you put it all together, they got healthy at the right time, and a very elite plus starting rotation. Let's start at the top. Jeff, I want you to talk to the people about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Give me all the reasons why he's an A++ for you.
Yeah, there's no question. He is whatever the highest grade we're giving out. That's what Yamamoto got this year. Finished third in the Cy Young voting, was outstanding, and really continuing. Yesterday, for some reason, you guys kind of pretended that his 2024 season wasn't excellent too, when really it was after that one starting in whichever country they started the season in 2024, Korea. He had like a 2.4 ERA the rest of the season, and then he just picked up right where he left off this year. Was just an ace from start to end, stayed healthy unlike the year before. Just absolutely dominant season for Yamamoto. A whip under 1 in this day and age. It's ridiculous for a starting pitcher. And none of it seemed like smoke and mirrors. None of it seemed like, oh, he just had a career year. It just seemed like, hey, this is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This is why the Dodgers gave him all that money. There's no reason to think we shouldn't expect something like this year. I like when comments just go right over Kevin's face. That's fun. There's no reason we shouldn't expect this same basic type of performance for at least the next 4 or 5 years, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, dude is insane. It took one bad start in Korea for him to be like, no, we're going to figure this out. Obviously, he kind of struggled a little bit last spring training, put the pieces together, put together a really, really good 24, as you said. And then this year, he pieced everything together. The only thing that really didn't work out for him had nothing to do with him. It was not run prevention. Sorry. The Dodgers scoring runs for him. They weren't very good at that. Run support is the word, are the words I was looking for, but just phenomenal season for Yamamoto. And yeah, there's no signs of, outside of his arm falling off for pitching every single inning in the World Series, knock on desk, that doesn't happen. There's no signs of him slowing down next season. Kevin, thoughts on Yoshi-san?
Yeah, highest grade you could give him easily. And the fact is that he's just done it on the biggest stage 2 years in a row. He was excellent in the World Series last year. Obviously excellent in the World Series this year because he won World Series MVP. And if you want to ask the question, who do you want in a game, Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal, or Yoshinobu Yamamoto, I think the answer has to be Yamamoto because unlike the other two who are phenomenal pitchers, Yamamoto's done it in literally the biggest spots. And he's done it in the biggest and in somewhat unorthodox ways, coming in into Game 7, having pitched 96 or thrown 96 pitches the day before. So I think he's the best pitcher on the planet right now. I don't think there's a single guy I'd want on the mound other than him. yes, maybe Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal on their best day are better than Yoshinobu, but I just day in and day out give me Yamamoto all the time.
Wait, so your grade was A plus 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 plus?
Whatever the height, yeah, S plus, A plus.
Yeah, this is an S tier. He's an S
Yeah,
tier. I see.
the best.
I see our buddy Matty Man 5 Dodge trolling me saying it's a D plus, right? No, because there are very few ways that Yoshi can get better. It's just about, somebody also mentioned like load management. I think that's going to be the most important thing for him next season. I don't want to see the Dodgers burn him out by using him the correct way. I would, even if he's fine and healthy, I would like to see him have a little bit of a blow here and there, not need to go out and throw 6, 7, 8 innings. But to that same, or in that same breath, this is a dude who is going to, he wants to be a Cy Young Award winner, a Major League Baseball Cy Young Award winner. And the only way you're going to do that is by building up more innings, by somehow earning wins, which you have very little control of. But in terms of start to finish, including getting those final outs for the Dodgers in the World Series, yeah, you cannot ask for a better season, for a better pitcher, for a higher grade than what Yoshinobu, the best player on the Dodgers. With regards to Shohei Ohtani, best player on the Dodgers for his importance, in my opinion, in 2025. A couple of super chats here from our friend Richie Flores, $4.99, and it's very tiny on the screen. I apologize. He says, nothing says checking mice devices while working late on a Friday with Jeff on the live stream. They just go together. And hashtag don't trade Teo. Of course, hashtag free Richie.
I don't even understand what that means for Richie, and so
Nice devices.
I don't know what
I'm gonna take
mice
a
devices
sip.
are.
So I think he's killing mice, and killing makes him think of you, is what I'm kind of gathering.
Okay.
Yeah. You give him angers.
Not homicide, but what micicide? That's not what I'm
So
with the...
that was a $4.99 super chat. So I took a sip because I don't think Richie's intent was for us to drink. But Kevin, we did get $9.99 from Fear the Beard, who says shots. And I'm sorry, Jeff, you got to put one back for us. Take a chug of water. And this will be the last one of these because I'm trying to live. Anyways, Raul with the $1.99 super chat. I got to hit a few gongs and things in here, by the way. Bullpen so bad, starters won the World Series. A+. Yeah, the bullpen was terrible by the end of the season. Terrible all throughout the season. We talked about that last night in case you guys missed it. Let's see what else we got. I don't think we have anything else in the chat, so let us... Oh, here we go. Kevin Uhas, everybody's favorite Kevin here on the All Dodgers podcast, featuring a Kevin, says, I'm glad we don't have to worry about Andre Jackson, Mitch White, Michael Grove, David Price, Tony Gonsolin, or Andrew Heaney taking the mound for our team. I like our starters. And guys, I don't know if it's a shot or those names, but I get a little bit of a shudder when I see those names for sure.
Don't throw dirt on my man Mitch White. Dodgers legend right there.
Dodgers legend, Mitchell White. Clayton Kershaw.
They made a rule because of him.
Oh, the up-down rule? Yeah.
That's for something.
The frequent flyer rule. Yeah. Clayton Kershaw, year 18 of Clayton Kershaw, his swan song, I guess we'll say it, his career finale. Very good. Not great for Clayton Kershaw, but considering it was, hey, I want to see if my body can still hold up and hold together. It did. He came off the IL from the foot and knee surgeries and stayed healthy through the rest of the season. He also was fine being like, I don't need to be the man. I don't need to start games for this team. I understand all of these dudes in front of me are better. Use me how you need. He even understood at some points he probably shouldn't have been on the postseason roster, but if you have a healthy Clayton Kershaw, he deserves to be on the roster. It's probably too high of a grade, but because I love the man, I'm giving him an A. Jeff, what are your thoughts? The many loving thoughts of that man behind your left shoulder as well, Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, Drip Show Shop, by the way.
Shout out Drip Show, by the way.
Which shoulder, right there?
There it is. Yeah.
There it is. We've set the precedent this week that we are grading people on the curves that they have established. And Clayton Kershaw in 2025, at his age, his expected role on the team, he ended up filling a bigger role than expected and pitching better than expected. And so, not to mention, like you said, embracing the role that they needed him to play in October. absolutely an A for Clayton Kershaw. Could not have asked for a better season to go out on. Like, very few guys. I think David Ortiz had like a monster season in his last year. Obviously, Sandy Koufax had a great season in his last year, but he didn't retire on his own terms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, guys who are retiring because they've had a long Hall of Fame career and now they're old don't usually go out on as good a season as what Clayton Kershaw just did. And so it's absolutely an A for Clayton Kershaw.
Kevin, give us a bad grade. Be a jerk.
No, I can't do it. I can't. It's like Jeff said. If you had told anybody that Clayton Kershaw would get 22 starts this year and at points be the most important pitcher on the roster because it was Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Clayton Kershaw and then like a bunch of guys, I think people would have been driven to insanity. And yet there was Kershaw day in and day out once he came off the IL, took the ball literally whenever he needed to, adapted his role in the postseason, and he got a really important out. I like that last out he got. It was there was a lot of pomp and circumstance, and it was a little bit of a circus act to get the runner at first. But he walks off the mound a hero in that 18-inning slog. But it was if he doesn't do that, the Dodgers might not win that game. So it's just overall wildly important. He hit the 3,000 strikeout mark this year as well. So
he went out of his comfort zone to announce his retirement at a time when the fans could give him the love he needed. Like, Clayton Kershaw did everything you could have asked him to do this year and more.
Yeah, because of that too, can we give an honorary A+ to Ellen Kershaw for sticking around for all? I mean, it's pretty easy to stick around for a Hall of Fame career, but making sure to coax Clayton into tell them you're retiring, man.
I'll tell you something. As the only father in this group here, Ellen Kershaw is an A+ every year.
Yeah,
it's hard enough to be a mom of multiple children when your husband is actually home every night from work. But for Ellen to do, and obviously the money helps. It's not like she can't afford help, but Ellen is a super mom, a super wife, and A+ every year. She's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of friends in the chat, by the way. I want to make sure we point out Stanley for fun. He says, "Stop the Kershaw love," because
Kenny Chung's telling us to stop being homers. The heck? Show me what you're watching.
Yeah, we should maybe we should change the name of our podcast to give some indication that we're fans of the Dodgers.
Yeah. Of all of them. Well, not really all of them. We're actually sometimes not fans.
We talk
about
all of them. We're fans of most of them.
Yeah. I'm definitely not always a fan of Tyler Glasnow, who we're talking about next. And I'll tell you what, I challenged this dude in a way where he doesn't know who I am and didn't listen to me and didn't watch me. But I think I was justified in saying at that point in the season, if it's between a healthy Clayton Kershaw and a not healthy Tyler Glasnow, I'd take a Clayton Kershaw just because he was earning it. I don't know. At the time, it made sense, obviously, but it worked because Tyler Glasnow came out and shoved whenever his number was called in the postseason. He had a bit of a hybrid role, a couple of starts that were really, really good, couple of bullpen relief appearances that were pretty damn good as well. No beef, no ill qualms with Tyler Glasnow. I'll keep it short and sweet so we don't have a 19-hour show because we do have a page 2 of the starting rotation. Glasnow, A-. Very great season.
I just want to point out, when you challenged Tyler Glasnow, his ERA was 3.08. After that, it was 3.35.
But
Tyler
he stayed
Glasnow
healthy.
He pitched slightly worse after you doubted him than before. The fact is Tyler Glasnow is a great pitcher when he's healthy. And, and now I'm going to answer Matty Man's question earlier when he said, does anybody really believe these guys were hurt? I absolutely believe that Tyler Glasnow had a legitimate injury, that the Dodgers were very, 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 very conservative in treating and bringing him back from. Same for Blake Snell. They didn't manufacture these injuries, but they absolutely had their eye on October in the rehab process and thinking, okay, we've seen the Tyler Glasnow. We saw what October looks like without him last year. Let's see what October looks like with him this year. And so they did ease into it. But he was, outstanding and in the regular season, and then even better in the postseason. He's a very good pitcher. He would be the number one pitcher on most teams in baseball. Yeah. And the Dodgers have the luxury of he can be their fourth starter. Like, depending on how that's what he was in the postseason. He was their fourth starter, and that's how loaded they are.
Yeah. Kevin, thoughts on the Glasnow? By the way, I'm going to read it because I did post it, but Dodger 1214 saying the Glasnow slander was justified, but he stepped up, and somebody else Brandon saying Glasnow hate gotta stop, and that was it. I'm done. Like, I am all about Tyler Glasnow. I'm all in. He did what I needed him to do, which was stay healthy and prove himself as an ace, because everybody talked about him being an ace with these other, 3 or 4 dudes in front of him. But an ace steps up, in my opinion, in my purview, and he hadn't done that as a Dodger because he missed the last postseason, and then he was hurt again. So an ace has availability, and he was available, and we cool now. Kevin, go.
It's a solid B for me, because if I'm grading a lot of these pitchers, like what we've mentioned, we're grading on kind of what our expectations of them are. And my expectation of Tyler Glasnow is he's going to miss significant time, and he's going to be good when he's on the mound. So that's what he did. But where he gets the B grade is he exceeded expectations in the postseason and was just an absolute dog. I think a lot of people had reservations about him in the postseason based on what they had seen out of him in the 2020 World Series, again, against a very good Dodgers team back then too. So there was, he had something to prove, I guess is the best way the way I'm going to choose to put it. So it's a solid B because he did what I expected him to do, and he showed out in the postseason, and they definitely obviously don't win the World Series without him. He was great in relief. Again, adjusted his role as well. He followed Shohei Ohtani in Game 6. He pitched in relief a couple times, and that's what winners do. And I'm very glad to have him on the team. If this is all we get from Tyler Glasnow in terms of like his role for the rest of his contract is, man, you're just not going to see him until June. But in October, he'll be around. Sign me up all day.
Yeah, you mentioned a few times there the World Series. That's something we're interested in, seeing the Dodgers get back to the World Series, win 3 in a row. If you go look at our friends, some of the odds over with our friends at FanDuel, you can bet. We talked about this a few times this week. You can bet on World Series matchups. I've shown some of the funny ones, including the Dodgers and the White Sox is plus 52,000. Where if you win a bunch of money basically if you bet on that being the World Series matchup. It's not going to happen. But Dodgers Blue Jays rematch plus 2,200. I think that is not the favorite. The favorite, if you're looking at the numbers, and the lowest number being the favorite technically here is Dodgers Yankees. I don't know how much I agree with that one. Blue Jays making moves, obviously landing Dylan Cease and all that kind of stuff. But the point is, FanDuel, they're great people because they sponsor us, and you guys should go put a couple of bucks on the Dodgers playing the Tampa Bay Rays for plus 7,000, because that's just kind of funny. But shout out FanDuel for helping us present the show.
It's also kind of wild. You can bet on what state the World Series winner will come from.
Really?
And California is at plus 240. The Dodgers themselves are at plus 360. And it's not like they're expecting the A's or the Angels or the Giants, I wouldn't think. So really they think that the Padres have an outside chance. I think it's interesting that California is that much different odds than just the Dodgers, because if it's someone from California, it's going to be the Dodgers.
You saying that obviously breaks Kevin's heart. He's a big-time Cubs fan. Cubs, of course, are
Where's
from...
Illinois land on that?
Illinois is part of the field. You've got California, New York, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Ohio that you can bet on specifically, and then anywhere else is at plus 200.
Oh.
So it's
big White Sox guys over at FanDuel.
Big White Sox people.
17 teams combined are at plus 200.
BC says 0 chance it's a World Series rematch. I don't know, man. Blue Jays are pretty good. They're stacking up a little bit more there. Matty Man stating a fact. Jays are better than the Yankees. I agree with that. At this point in the offseason, there is still a lot of winter, a lot of hot stove to go for all of the teams in baseball. Not that we expect the White Sox to be involved very much, but still a chance that the Jays maybe bring back Bo Bichette. Maybe they're going to be in on Kyle Tucker, and I'm pretty sure that would help their odds a whole lot more. But again, shout out to FanDuel for presenting this part of the show. Let's get back into it. Talked about Tyler Glasnow. Let's talk about another sneaky favorite here on the channel. That is Emmet Sheehan. People like Kevin was kind of caught with his pants around his ankle. I don't know if that's a way of saying it. He was surprised earlier to learn that Emmet Sheehan is only 26. Of course, coming back from Tommy John in the beginning of the 2024 season. Just was great. Another absolute staple for this team. Kind of came out of nowhere, stayed healthy. And, Kevin, you mentioned the importance of Kershaw being that dude who posted every fifth or sixth day. Emmet was right there next to him. What are your thoughts about Sheehan?
Absolutely loved it. A grade in my book, 100%. It's one thing to, be Clayton Kershaw coming back in your 18th year, take the ball every 5 days and kind of not do what he's used to doing, but, kind of a little bit of what it's expected, what he's done for the last 18 years. Emmet Sheehan basically had to be a number 3 starter for a good chunk of the year, and he's never had to do that. He was debuted in 2023, like you said, missed 2024, and then was thrust into a very important position, and he excelled. You look at the ERA number right there, anything that starts with a 2, 26 years old, second full year in Major League Baseball, and he looked shaky out of the bullpen.
First full, really.
Yeah, first full. Yeah, true. He looked just a little shaky out of the bullpen in the playoffs. I'm not going to knock him too much for that because he's, like I said, 26 years old and hasn't played a whole lot, but he blew all of our expectations out of the water. I think a lot of people coming into the year would have said, okay, his upside would be like a number 3. But looking at his stuff, I mean, God, when your floor is like a Roki Sasaki, like high leverage reliever, like Emmet Sheehan's also could be a frontline starter if he keeps progressing the way he's progressing. So really excited to have him on the team next year, and I can't wait to see what he does coming out of the gate.
Wait, did you say your grade?
A.
You got an A. Jeff, what are your Sheehan thoughts? What is your Sheehan grade?
It's kind of interesting. Ken mentioned in the chat that Sheehan's also great at holding base runners. I hadn't even thought about it. Only 3 guys tried to steal on Sheehan this year, and all 3 of them were caught stealing.
He is super quick to the plate. Very simple, clean delivery. Love that dude. Anyways.
So, for what they needed from Sheehan, obviously in the postseason, he didn't get a ton of opportunities and he didn't totally excel when he did get opportunities. But, coming back from injury, grading on his own curve, I give Emmet Sheehan a solid B for 2025. I think there's more in the tank, but you look at those numbers, like pitching against major league teams, and he had an ERA under 3 and a WHIP under 1.
Yeah.
You'd like to see more volume, but really quantity wasn't quite there. The quality was there.
For me, when you look at the regular season, it's an A. When you factor in the struggles in the postseason, it takes it down a notch. He did over the last couple of games, last 2 games in the World Series, where obviously, with an 18-inning game, I think you had another, 1 or 2 extra inning games in that series. You're probably going to have to rely on Emmet Sheehan picking up some innings. We expected a lot more out of him in the postseason. He didn't quite deliver. So I'm not going to have that knock him too hard because nobody in that bullpen really delivered. Still, I think I will agree with the idea of a solid B, maybe a couple points short of a B plus. Like come back from Tommy John and kind of just slot in that rotation and really not be a question mark for the entire second half of the season. Dude was nails. Absolutely nails. Nicole says, I like Sheehan. Looking forward to continue seeing him grow. And also, Kevin Uhas asking, this is going to be a big question. I mean, Sheehan kind of took the spot, and I'm sure we'll dive more into this at a different time, a different show. But Sheehan essentially took the spot that was filled by the injured Gavin Stone. Stoner should be back, should be healthy. A lot of really, really good competition, or is this a 7-man rotation? How does this shake out? What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely going to be some competition. I think how it probably shakes out is the way all Dodgers pitching competitions shake out, which is they take turns being hurt.
Fair.
You know, I think this year Yamamoto was the only guy to start more than 22 games. I think we should expect something similar next year. Only one or two guys being healthy, or if we want to use quotes around the word healthy for the whole season, everybody else kind of slotting in and out. And so these young guys who do have option years available are going to be on the OKC shuttle. But yeah, I think all these guys, I think one of these guys we're talking about probably gets traded this offseason, but then there's still going to be more guys than they have room for, and they're going to slot them in around injuries.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of that conversation on Dodgers territory where Alana had brought up the idea of Emmet Sheehan being a piece that makes some sense as a trade chip. Of course, some people are like, oh my God, Alana wants to trade Emmet Sheehan. No, you need to trade value to get value back. He is arguably the most tradable Dodger player right now in terms of quality, age, team control. And the Dodgers have a glut of starting pitching when you are looking into next season. I mean, that starting six is already loaded up, and then there's going to be the Roki factor. We'll talk about Roki Sasaki in a little bit. Devin had mentioned, River Ryan and Emmet Sheehan starts are going to feed families. I'm very high on River Ryan. I think Kyle Hurt ends up in the bullpen, as we talked about. Kasparius, Wroblewski, they're going to be in the bullpen in some capacity. Landon Knack will be he'll be this year or next year's Mitch White. But yeah, Sheehan is as much as it would suck to see him traded, if you are trying to go out and get a Stephen Kwan or get a Byron Buxton or get a the other guy, Jarren Duran, of those upper, echelon outfielders, you're going to need to start with an Emmet Sheehan and other big names alongside. But I don't know. I don't know if they go that route, and I don't know how available any of those names are. If anybody has any thoughts,
it'll be interesting. I trade packages are so hard to predict. A lot of the times you see the package, and sometimes you look at them and go, "We gave up that," or like you look at the Dustin May trade. The fact that we got anything, you're like, "What? We got something for that?" And then there's also times where you trade. There's trades made. And you're like, they didn't get nearly enough for said player. So they're it depends on the team needs, team fit, stuff like that. And I think it shakes out the way Jeff said it. Like, this stuff just kind of figures itself out one way or another. Somebody gets hurt, Like, I think we had this same conversation. What was it, in the 23 offseason, maybe 24, where like Tony Gonsolin's ankle just exploded out of nowhere, and all of a sudden there was just like room again in the starting rotation. Obviously, I don't think anyone's ankle is going to explode again, but weird things happen. So it'll figure itself out one way or another. The Dodgers are very good at roster manipulation, and apparently also having somewhat timely injuries.
Yeah, a little bit of wink in there.
A couple comments. Rosman Carino says we have a lot of starting pitching, but there's definitely going to be some variance because some of them are coming back from injuries, which, I think Sheehan is a good example this year, his first year back. We're talking about, is he an A or a B? And he only made 18 starts. Yeah. And so, nobody's going to be expecting Gavin Stone and River Ryan to come back and pitch all season. So that's kind of one of the things to think about. Also, Kevin Uhas, everybody's favorite Kevin, says, can somebody ask if Jeff is okay? He's dying over there. Yeah, I haven't been feeling well today, and I had the longest day of my life at work today. And so, I've got something in my throat. So that's why I've been muted a lot, because I'm just trying to clear my throat.
You're lucky he's not in the bubble bath right now.
As I say, full disclosure, Jeff did consider doing this show from the bubble bath, but I told Kevin before we went live, before Jeff joined us, I was like, if that man shows up to the stream in a bubble bath, I'm canceling the whole damn thing.
I think you could have just had the 2-shot on the screen, but have my microphone on, and you could hear me saying, conditioner's better. Stop looking at me.
Conditioner makes the hair soft and silky smooth. All right, we've gone off the rails, but Rosman hopes that you feel better, Jeff. I'm sure Richie has something in his rat truck that can cure you. Wink, wink.
Or kill you.
Well, that was the wink, wink part. You said the quiet part out loud. All right, let's
Because of
talk
the
about this
implication.
Let's talk about this next guy, this up and coming starter. Trying to make a name. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself. The Shohei Ohtani kid. Only made 14 starts. I guess they were pretty good. I don't know. I hear you guys only gave him an A in our outfield / DH edition of the grades, and that apparently is not good enough. And you guys are both dumbasses for only giving him an A. This is from a comment, not just my feeling, but I feel the same. I mentioned earlier when they signed Shohei Ohtani in that wonderful he wasn't going on a plane to Toronto day. We knew the bat was going to be there, but there was also the expectation that the arm was going to come along. It was going to be there in year 2, and boy, was it up to and including being, the third, fourth starter in the postseason rotation as well. Put together not even arguably, the best game in postseason history by hitting 3 homers and striking out 10 over 6 innings. Dude's an enigma. Dude is a unicorn. Dude is the GOAT. Now, this is an S. This is the second S. It's not an S++ like Yoshi, because I love Yoshi. Not to say I don't love Shohei. But it's an S kind of season when you piece it all together for Shohei Ohtani. And I'm very much looking forward to the fact that he wants to go out there and pitch every 6th day in 2026. Jeff, thoughts on Showtime?
Yeah, and to be clear, as we said the other day when we were talking outfield, we were grading Ohtani's season as a DH. And we gave him an A rather than an A+ because we've seen him just last year in a Dodger uniform have an even better offensive season than he had this year. So if last year was an A+, this year was an A offensively.
Yeah.
He was also, somewhere around an A- maybe pitching. Quality-wise, easy A. Quantity, it was kind of an interesting season because he was coming back from surgery, coming back from 2 surgeries, really. And, but yeah, I'd probably give him an A- on the mound, just docked a little bit because he only did make 14 starts, but then maybe it gets bumped back up to an A because of the postseason. But then the fact is, like you said, when you have a guy who is an A with the bat and somewhere in the A territory on the mound, it's an A+, it's an S, it's whatever you want to call it. It is Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball. And somebody got mad in the comments for Kevin saying that Aaron Judge might be a better hitter than Ohtani right now. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Shohei Ohtani is a better baseball player than Aaron Judge and Vladimir Guerrero and Juan Soto and insert name of player here, Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal. Shohei Ohtani is better than all of them because none of them can do it. And we don't just got to limit it to active players. Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, all these guys, Shohei Ohtani is better than them. Now, he has to keep doing it for the rest of his career to end up having a better career than them. But talent-wise, skill-wise, Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball history. And, it's hard to give that anything other than an A+ when we're talking about the totality of it all.
Yeah, and Jay is accusing me of being a homer in the chat, and he says no disrespect and no disrespect taken. I think that is a fair assessment, considering maybe I changed my grade a little bit because of the bullying in the chat and the bullying from our grade show that we had. Sorry, the infield grade show that we had on Monday, where everybody's a critic. Maybe I went S tier a little prematurely there. Still very good. It's an A-. There's still room for improvement. If the idea is that we are grading based on how these pitchers, how good they can be, we know there's more in the tank for Shohei. But Jeff, you mentioned coming back from a couple of surgeries. It was the shoulder and the elbow, slowly working his way back. He also saw the how decimated by injuries the starting rotation was, and he decided, hey, you know what? I'm good. Let's just start this now, even if it is pitching 1 inning. 2 innings, 3 innings, the slow build up. We had that question a whole bunch, gentlemen. How the hell is he going to build up while also being the DH and leadoff guy? How is he going to build up to a starter's workload? We saw it and it worked out. So maybe that's another one of the things that kind of influences my S, but all right, I will back rev it. It's going to be an A- for Shohei Ohtani. Very, very good season.
On the
pitching side, correct. But I guess I didn't give a grade, but it was an A, not an A+. He had an A+ to an S, tier last year, 24 as the DH. A couple of areas he regressed this year with batting average, obviously the stolen bases, but it's still very, very good. Led baseball in runs, in slug, hit it broke his own Dodgers all-time record, single-season record with 55 homers, all that kind of stuff. Very, very good. That's also an A as a hitter. But anyways, Kevin, your Shohei Ohtani thoughts?
Yeah, I'm A- as the pitcher. Coming back from the 2 injuries or the 2 surgeries, like you said, he did rehab at the major league level, which is a absolutely wild thought, but that just shows how much talent he has. That it's just like, hey, yeah, I could rehab against major leaguers as opposed to needing to go down to OKC or Rancho Cucamonga or wherever he needs. That there is easiest to send him at the time. The stuff was just always there from like the first day we saw him on the mound. We're like, oh yeah, he's really good at this pitching.
Didn't
stuff.
he hit 100 in his first outing?
Yes, yeah,
Ridiculous.
the ball was flying out of his hand. The stuff clearly is still there. It'll be very interesting how he'll do with a full offseason now. Well, I guess it's not a full offseason. It'll be abbreviated again because of the WBC. But, a little bit more normal offseason for him compared to years past. Really excited for that. And, yeah, it's the total package. He's the best player in baseball. There's conversations about, like, who would you want to start your, build your team around. I think any other answer besides Shohei Ohtani is kind of ridiculous because Shohei Ohtani does one thing that nobody else can do is he takes up 2 roster spots as one person. He's both a hitter and a pitcher, which, yeah, like that is also why the Dodgers got to like put guys like Clayton Kershaw on the postseason roster is they had another starting pitcher who didn't count as a pitcher, which as I love the rule, the way it's constructed because the Dodgers get to do that as a 2-way player.
They're ruining baseball.
They're ruining baseball. It's awful, folks. But yeah, overall great for Shohei. He's the number 1 player in baseball. It's not particularly close. Like Jeff said, he's probably the best player ever to step on the mound, field, wherever part of a diamond he decides to stand. And then just pitching, I just want to see a little bit more, but I have no doubt that as soon as we get a little bit more, it's like, oh, yeah, he's again probably going to establish himself top 10, top 5 pitcher in the league. Yeah. Because if he just rides this out with a 104.3 whip, 2.87 ERA, if he does that next year, it's like, yeah, he's a top 5 pitcher. He's an ace on most teams again. So
yeah, just give him time.
Let me tell you guys a story about 6th grade. Okay. I had to.
It's 6th grade, right?
Actually, I'll go to this shot.
I had to draw a map of Africa, and I nailed it. Anyway, I nailed it. It was perfect. It was beautiful. Colors were great, and I got 115% on this. I got 115 points out of 100 on my map because it was that good. Mr. McColgan, my teacher, gave me 115 out of 100. Yeah. Now, one other person also got 115 out of 100. Her name was Gabby McColgan. Same last name as the teacher's daughter.
Nepotism.
Gabby spelled Morocco wrong on her map. And yet she got the same grade as me. But Gabby's map was very good. And my point here, the reason I'm bringing this up in the conversation about Shohei Ohtani is even if Gabby had gotten the 111 that she deserved out of 100, because her map was very good, despite spelling Morocco wrong, they're both A pluses. And so when we're giving Shohei Ohtani an A plus this year, he could be better next year because he could make 28 starts next year. And cut down his strikeout rate at the plate a little bit. He might be better next year, and it'll still be an A plus. And maybe this year ends up being the Gabby McColgan version, and next year is the Jeff Snyder version. Every player can only hope to attain the Jeff Snyder Africa map season. But if he does, all I'm saying is we will see different versions of A+ from Shohei Ohtani throughout his Dodgers career, because the dude contains multitudes. He's ridiculous, and he does so many things. I actually saw Mr. McColgan at my cousin's funeral back in October, and I did not bring up the Africa map. Thank you very much.
And because of
man,
that,
bigger man.
Because of that,
Literally.
by the way, because of that map debacle, and because of how great Jeff's map was, JJ's map was, it inspired Toto to write the song Africa. And for that, damn it, my board turned off because that would have been the perfect time to clap. But we applaud Jeff Snyder for inspiring. Huh?
It's not Tutu?
Not Tutu? No, he didn't go to the same school as Dio for what it's worth. And also, the other thing I had very early on in Jeff's story was, that everybody knows that episode of that scene from The Simpsons where Ralph Wiggum is, "Hello, I'm Florida." No, it wasn't Wiggum. It was Lisa or somebody having to do the diorama or whatever themselves, or Homer did it. I don't know. I messed this whole thing up. But anyways, hello, Florida. Yeah. That's it. Nailed it. Stuck the landing. Hell yeah. Boo that, man.
I'm learning.
All right, let's
talk about... For the record, Africa came out 6 years before I drew the map of Africa, so perhaps Toto inspired me.
Yeah. Are there any... do they name any of the countries or like states or whatever they're called in Africa in that song?
You don't know what they call countries?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're actually because you wouldn't. Okay, like the United States is a country first a continent, but like
they do talk about Kilimanjaro rising like Olympus above the Serengeti, and that's not geographically accurate. Gabby probably drew it that way on her map, though.
Oh, Gabby, whatever her name is, Ref Snyder.
McColgan.
Listen. I was going to avoid this, but I'm just so confused, but also not, because I can speak fluent Richie. But the comment is, can the Dodgers just have Clayton Titus out the first pitch on opening day and retire his number in the same day? Be fine with it. Don't make him wait 5 years. Guys, future Hall of Famer, Clayton Titus, one of my favorite comedians. Clayton Titus. Big fan. Had a show on Fox.
Tried it, gum is chewy as gum.
Anyway,
it's a more accurate nickname than the Minotaur.
Oh, the Minotaur. Whoever put that on Baseball Reference, I appreciate that they left it. Because of that, guys, Diane says you guys need to smash that like button for Jeff and his Africa map. I think you need to smash that like button for Clayton Titus, everybody's favorite Dodger pitcher. Anyways, moving on. Let's rapid fire so we can get out of here, guys. It is a Friday night, and I have a super chat waiting that forces Kevin and I to drink, and that is coming up after we talk about Blake Snell. Let's talk about Blake Snell. They signed him for money to be an ace, and that is what he did. Sure, he missed a bunch of time being hurt and all of that stuff, but we never cared because the point was be healthy and ready for October, and he was. There's a lot of room for improvement, but he also was an absolute dog for this team in the postseason, which really pulls that grade up. It probably could have. Regular season is like a C, but everything, the season, the year 2025 in totality, his joy in being a Dodger, and also to give credit to his weird ass gaming setup. It was an A because he did what he was paid to do, and that was help the Dodgers win a World Series. Jeff.
Yeah, I have no idea how to grade Blake Snell's season. The dude's a two-time Cy Young Award winner, and he made 11 starts for the Dodgers, and so obviously it is not a full season. And but he did help them win a World Series. If he had been as dominant in the World Series as he was in other rounds of the playoffs, I would let the postseason bump him up quite a bit. The fact that the Dodgers kind of had to win the World Series in spite of him a little bit. I give Blake Snell a C+ overall for the season, just because quality wise he was great. I'd like to see a more beginning to end postseason next year for him. And obviously I don't need him to make 30 starts, but I'd like to see at least 22. If Clayton Kershaw can do 22 starts
Titus.
in his final season of his career, Clayton Titus, I need Blake Snell to reach the Titus line next year.
Yeah.
Which is what we're calling it. 22 starts. If Blake Snell reaches the Titus line and, pitches a gem in the World Series, then that's an A+ season for him.
Yeah.
I'm giving him a C+ for 2025, but I'm happy that he gets another chance next year.
Hey, in the words of Walker Buehler, what would Titus do? Kevin, what are your thoughts about Blake Snell?
Yeah, it's going to be a B for me.
To be for me, dog.
He did pitch. He made 6 starts in the postseason. 2 of them, the 2 starts against Toronto, weren't fantastic. He did give them length, which they needed, obviously, with the state of the bullpen. But he did make 6 starts in the postseason, which means a good amount because he didn't start much in the regular season. It's really difficult because, like Jeff mentioned, this is somebody who, when he makes every start or when he pitches like at least 28 games, he wins the Cy Young Award. He just doesn't really do it all that often. He pitches 180 innings. It'll be a B because what my expectation was of him was to come in, not pitch a whole heck of a lot, but be really good when he did pitch. So that would be like a C, but he pitched really good. And Game 7, he obviously gave him a very important 1 1/3 inning. Which kind of makes up for the fact that his other 2 starts were not great. Yeah, I'll just give him I'll go B-. I think is where I end up landing. Slightly better, above average in terms of, postseason performances because he did pitch like against, in Philadelphia, he went 6 innings, no earned runs. In Milwaukee, 8 innings, no earned runs. There was like a question whether or not he could just, finish the game outright. Mm-hmm. He almost did. So
it's an argument, more of an argument or a battle, but even still.
Yeah, it was more of exactly. So I'll give him a B-. If he just makes like Jeff mentioned, if he makes 20 starts next year, it'll be an A because we just need to see more of him. We need just a little more of him. He can't disappear for like almost 4 months.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a thing. And by the way, to give a little bit of leniency to him in those World Series starts, particularly the Game 5 start, if the Dodgers had any semblance of a bullpen, numbers look a lot better. Even
he got treated like Titus.
Exactly, like Dodgers legend Titus there. Yeah. But leading up to the World Series, he had a .86 ERA, and then it ballooned all the way up to 3.18. That's how good he was in that postseason. And again, Dodgers win. Dodgers win a World Series. He pitches in relief, gets the job done, gets those 4 outs, as you mentioned, Kevin. Huge season. And somebody was mentioning in the chat, it's like, if he can be healthy, we're mentioning keeping him healthy, have him maybe expect him to take a little bit of time on the IL next season. That's fine, but if he could be mostly around from start to finish, get us in the pocket of like 25 starts, I think things will be a lot better. Let's shift to page 2, and we'll make this one a lot quicker because there aren't as many sexy names on there. There is Dustin May, there's Roki Sasaki, of course, our friend Landon Knack and Dodgers legend Tony Gonsolin. I want to open first on Roki Sasaki because much
Uh,
earlier in the chat, that Daxton dude, I always mess this up even though I know how to say it, but I pronounce it wrong. I think Roki will run out of gas as a starter and be converted to a closer. What do you think? But that was a $4.99 super chat, so that means we drink. That one was a painful one. We've had this conversation. We had this conversation last night. I agree that he probably ends up as a bullpen piece, a lights out, like lockdown, disgusting closer. But they're going to try him in the starting rotation. And 6 starts in the starting rotation this year, Jeff, was not good. But that was kind of to be expected because we knew entering this season, entering this year, entering his major league career, dude is a work in progress. He's still very young. What are your thoughts about first year of Roki Sasaki?
Yeah, like Kevin said last night, it's kind of nice to know that there's a fallback option for Roki Sasaki. That our worst case scenario is he can be really good in relief. And but yeah, I do think it would be kind of crazy to not give him a chance as a starter because he is young. He is still learning. You guys talked about the need to develop a third pitch, get one of those pitches he's tried as a third pitch to be more, because it's not that he doesn't have a third pitch. It's that he doesn't have a third pitch that major league hitters have to respect at this point. And that's the whole point of having three pitches is keeping guys on their toes so they, you have a better chance of, if a hitter's guessing, you'd rather have him have a 33% chance of guessing right than a 50% chance of guessing right. And, unless you're Mariano Rivera, when they have a 100% chance of guessing right and they still can't hit it, you need to, and the fact is Roki's splitter, forkball, whatever you want to call it, absolutely could be one of those pitches that even if you guess right, you're not going to hit it, but that's only if he can command it. And even then, you'd like to have three pitches if you're going to be a successful starter. He can absolutely get by in the bullpen with just the fastball and the forkball. But
yeah,
I think that Roki is immensely talented and likely to develop a third pitch that is good enough that he does stick in the starting rotation. I think that, yeah, I just think he's too good to not stick in the rotation.
I hope you're right. I don't know, but then again, there's a lot to be still determined with his career. It was a little bit of a wash, almost an incomplete grade for Roki as a starter. Focusing on him specifically as a starter here. Obviously, very different. We said last night the Dodgers don't win that World Series without Roki in the bullpen. How important he was, especially early in the postseason, but all together, just very, very important. Kevin, your Roki thoughts?
Yeah, I think he was a 23-year-old adapting to not an entirely new game, but a pretty different game. Japanese hitters or players in NPB are different. They have a different approach. You heard Tetsuya Mai talk about it, how they're a little bit more contact oriented and not so much damage oriented. And he's adjusting to a different baseball. My expectation for him was to struggle, and he did. He struggled a little bit more than I thought he would, even given that. So my grade for him is a D+. It's not a fail, because he tried, and there was a real effort made there.
Yeah.
He did get hurt. He did lose a little bit on his velocity. And that was something that they had to figure out. It looks like they might have towards the end of the year where he was touching 100 again. So that's good news. I don't think he's going to necessarily tire out as a starter. Like I just mentioned, I just think he's a 23-year-old kid who was in a different country, a different game. Yeah, it's just like he was always going to be a project. Anybody who thought he was coming over like Yoshinobu did was just not looking at the same pitcher or the same player. So I think he'll ultimately be fine. He's got challenges ahead of him, but I trust that he will figure it out because he's got mentors. He's got people he can lean on in the organization, potentially outside the organization as well. He has the resources. I believe in him. He's a very, very good pitcher. He's a highly competitive kid. We can see how much he cares.
He's got stuff. That's important.
He's got that. Yeah, and that's the
other
thing
too. Is
like, yeah, it's that the one thing that does kind of really suck about a forkball or a splitter or whatever you want to call it is it's not a reliable pitch to throw accurately. It is very difficult to get it to go where you're aiming it to go.
It's not a strike pitch.
It's not. And so he needs to find a secondary pitch that he can land for a strike. And then that way people have to respect that. So that way that splitter can do whatever it wants because it's just not reliable as a strike pitch. But I'm still very excited to see him come out of the starting rotation next year in pitch. I think I do think we will see a different version of him in spring training and as the season starts.
Yeah. What I really like about Roki is you saw something clicked for him, even, in his first few AAA rehab starts, like it wasn't working. And they mentioned they found something that finally like clicked in his head. And you saw the lower half, the trunk working with the upper half and the consistency with the fastball. You also saw pretty quickly though in the postseason, like we were able to tell very early that deer in the headlights look. Thankfully, Dave saw it for the greater part too. It didn't leave him in too long, except for that one outing where he went out for the second inning, which he shouldn't have. But even so, to the point of the totality of Roki as a starter, I'm intrigued. I'm giving him a C minus. I agree with Cole by Cole, who said that as well. Gets a C minus as a starter because he at least did the homework. He just didn't do good on the tests. I think that's a way to make it kind of school centric. And Jay and JY Kim are having a little bit of a conversation. I don't also disagree with this. Like our grades, yeah, they're extremely subjective. There is no criteria so much outside of what we decide is the criteria as we're talking about it. We had no discussions about these grades beforehand, but I also don't disagree with what anything either of these two gentlemen are saying on the screen. I think
it's kind of like the Manager of the Year award, where it's all based on who exceeded expectations. You know, like when we talk about grading on a curve, it's what was expected from this person. You know, if you did what was expected, you're probably getting a B, you know? And then if you did better than expected, you're getting better than a B. If you did worse than expected, you're getting worse than a B. And that's why Clayton Kershaw was an A, because it was better than expected. Roki Sasaki, you could quibble a lot about what should have been expected from him in his first year coming over. But yeah, I'd say probably a C for me. C, because it was a little bit worse than expected, but not a ton worse because we knew he was young. We knew that, you know, the Dodgers were signing him as a long-term project and potential for good stuff. And yeah, it would have been fun if he had come out and just taken the world by storm and won Rookie of the Year award and everything. Yeah. Especially after everybody came up with a clever pun at the same time after they signed him. Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's based on his expectations and that's the same with everybody. When we talked about Freddie Freeman the other day, you know, by Freddie's standards, it wasn't a great season. Yeah. It was a solid season. But if that was who's a bad first baseman? Somebody who's not a good hitter.
Luis Ariz.
My friend Ashley. I said my friend Ashley is a bad first baseman.
If Clint's friend Ashley had the season that Freddie Freeman had this year, that's an A+, because Clint's friend Ashley isn't a good hitter against major league pitching. And so to have a 141 OPS plus or whatever, you know, great season, just not quite a Freddie Freeman season, you know. And so Roki, in the future, hopefully he will raise our expectations enough that we will either grade him more harshly or say, wow, that dude exceeded even what we expected from him.
And, you know, one of the things before I get back into clowning on my friend Ashley, the hype. There was so much hype with Roki at this time a year ago, but a lot of the hype was never going to match like what he could have been immediately or what a lot of, you know, talent evaluators expected him to be immediately. It was always going to be that work in progress, but people read the one headline, oh, everybody wants this guy must be the second coming of Clayton Titus or whatever. Like, it was going to take time. It was always going to take time. But he was around, and he's going to be around. JY Kim with the $5 super chat, which means we got a drink. I'm going to combine it as well with Raul Robles, so Kevin and I don't die. So cheers to that. But JY Kim saying the team followed him from his high school days. They finally got him. They're not going to put him in the bullpen, especially in year 2. That's the part I most believe in. The especially in year 2 part. I think if there is a very clear, it's very clear that he is not better than one of the dudes on the left side of the screen right now, Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Emmet Sheehan, or Gavin Stone, then he's gonna either be in the bullpen or at AAA. That's just a reality. They're not gonna go with 7 starters, and that's of course presuming those other 6 dudes are healthy. And Raul's $4.99 super chat. Japan series didn't help. Blocking me. Should have started him in the minors. Maybe not. But also it would have been pretty messed up if they don't pitch the kid from Japan just coming out of Japan. Don't pitch him in that series. And to continue further scouting my friend Ashley. The problem I was thinking too specifically about her ability to play the position at first base. Like, bitch has rods in her back, so she can't really dig. She can't scoop baseballs or softballs. So that's where it's at. The hitter, yeah.
Probably not
some
against
work.
Major League pitching. Yeah,
Definitely not.
I bet she'd bat close to 0 against Major League pitching. And I haven't even met.
Yeah. I did have her play in a men's tournament for me one time. However, that was out of desperation because everybody else got drunk or hurt or didn't show up, as it usually goes with men tournaments. All right. Talked about Roki. Let's go back up on this list. Dustin May. Not a whole lot we need to say about Dustin May. It was a season where, you give him an A for coming off of missing years due to injuries, to his elbow, to his esophagus, building his way all the way back up to throwing 18 games, making 18 starts for the Dodgers to open the season. Some good in there, some bad. Became pretty apparent that what I've been saying for years needs to happen. He needs to be in the bullpen. I'm pretty sure teams are scouting him right now, talking to his agent about trying to pitch him out of the bullpen. If he wants to try to be a starter, he's never going to make it in this league. I'll say that now, Dustin. Love you, kid, but you read the writing on the wall. Hopefully one day he comes back as a all-star starter and throws that in my face. But even so, Dustin May was around and he gets a C for his efforts, maybe a C-, but we never have to see him again.
And then in 2029, the Dodgers trade for him at the trade deadline as a reliever.
He gets a C, but it's mostly because Andrew Friedman's grade, because the fact they got anything for him, 2 actual prospects for him, is pretty crazy. So I'll give him a C for being just good enough to get James Tibbs, and I can't remember the name of the second prospect.
The most important thing is James Tibbs a third. You got to get that kid.
Zach Earhart or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Raul is taking shots with us, so prayers to Raul's liver.
I'll give you a little behind the scenes. Raul DM'd me on Twitter asking if I was okay with him sending super chats to make you guys take shots tonight, and I gave him permission.
We
approval from Dad.
Got approval from Dad. Hey, shout out to Dad. What a guy. Not in the bathtub tonight yelling at us. IB Strokin, one of our favorites here, our moderator in the chat. A moderator in the chat says, howdy, chat. Thanks for being here during the offseason. Please consider joining the fellas and the rest of us on Discord. I just want to make sure we give some love to him plugging things for us. The Discord links are you get access to Discord by signing up on Patreon or YouTube members. I'll say that again. We appreciate everybody who does support us. It goes directly to us, not to any other corporate entity or any of that kind of stuff. It goes to us. Same with your super chats. It goes to people, humans, not bad humans. Are we done with Dustin May? Did we get grades? I think we're all well done with D-May, right?
Yeah, honestly, I have no interest in grading Dustin May. He's not on the team. I don't care.
Okay. Landon Knack, D?
Yeah. Okay. Landon Knack's not going to be on the team next year either, and so it's like, okay, whatever. Thanks for the memories.
How about this? The over under 5 starts for Dustin May. What do you think, Jeff?
Wait, Dustin May or Landon Knack?
Sorry, Landon Knack. My bad. Yeah.
With the Major League Los Angeles Dodgers?
Yes.
Smashing that under.
Taking the under. What do you got there, Kebbo?
Way under. You had to set the line at like 2.5.
You could have said over under 1, and I probably would have taken the under.
Hey, remember there are injuries. Things happen.
Put that list back up there on the screen, Clint. How many people are going to get hurt for Landon Knack to make a start for the Dodgers?
Listen, in the words of Monty Burns, 9 misfortunes. I don't know. There's a way. Plus, I mean, how many times did we expect Matt Sauer to get a baseball for the Dodgers early last year? And he did. Or Jack Dreyer to make starts, but at least take down opening role for the Dodgers. He did it 6 times, 5 times. Anyways, he is a healthy human being who has options.
He has one option year left. That's the one thing he has going for him.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if he's in the organization on the 40-man roster when the season starts.
Sounds like it should be a friendly bet. That's
and
all
a
I got.
playful bet.
Sure, why not? Tony Gunson, the final year of the Catman. I will remember you. Didn't work out. It came back, was not healthy, was pretty apparent early on, and went down with a second Tommy John surgery, was non-tendered by the Dodgers, actually DFA'd by the Dodgers, and likely going to find a job elsewhere. Hopefully, this is just one of his 9 lives and he gets an opportunity. We've already talked a whole bunch about that, so we don't need to open up that can of worms or catnip again. But it was an F. It's an F for Tony. I don't care about the injury. Yeah. It was an F.
I'll give him a D because he was injured. So it wasn't entirely his fault, but yeah, it's not.
Hey, you know what? Nobody's giving him an A, or else he would get the big DFA from the 3 of us.
and
yeah, more like getting a DFF from us. And he got the DFA from the Dodgers.
But the important thing is we don't need to see Tony Gonsolin next year. We don't need to see Dustin May next year. We likely will see a small amount, I say, of Landon Knack next year. But otherwise, again, starting rotation outlook as we wrap this up, how good are they going to be in 2026? You are looking at the best rotation in baseball, the best secondary rotation at AAA, however it works out. I mean, obviously the biggest competition is going to in spring training is going to be Sheehan, Stone, and Sasaki. What do they do with River Ryan? Do they just throw Kyle Hurt in the bullpen to start the year? Robo and Kasparius, will say it again, need to be in the bullpen, but that's a lot of dudes. That's a lot of very, very high quality, talented arms, and the Dodgers are in a phenomenal spot to run it back once again. Maybe need an arm, but maybe need an arm for the bullpen, but Dodgers are in a really good spot. Kevin, final thoughts.
It's the best rotation in baseball, and probably it's easily the best 7-man rotation in baseball, but it's also the best 3-man rotation in baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jeff?
All this talk about grades, a lot of B's talked about, reminded me of a friend of mine who's a high school teacher. Mm-hmm. And you know how sometimes the intrusive thoughts get out? He was in class and a girl said, Mr. Johnson, I need to get a B in your class. And he responded with, you are a B in my class. And that's what I've been thinking about for most of this episode. Every time somebody gave somebody a B, I thought of, you are a B in my class.
And we needed an O. Somebody needed to be outstanding because you would have had an S tier, an O tier, and a B grade. A, that's an SOB. Pour me a drink. Guys, that's about it. If you agree with us in any way, sound off in the comments below. If you're watching after the fact, we appreciate you making it through an hour and 12 minutes, making it all the way here. People in the live chat with us today, appreciate the hell out of you. Was it Carlos? Carlos, I'm going to make sure I get you the links, by the way, to join us on Discord. That is coming right after the show. We appreciate you for signing up. Not much else to say outside of thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you for being here on this Friday edition of the All Dodgers podcast. Please like the show, subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 25,000 subscribers, and the only way we can do that is by you mashing the hell out of that button. All Dodgers is presented by FanDuel, part of the Bleav Network of podcasts. I already told you a bunch of times about Patreon. What else should I say? I think that's about it. All right, guys. Yeah. We'll see you when we see you. I think Sunday night. Okay, bye.